Climbs in my lap for a good night hug. He calls me dad and I call him Bob. This faded old fella, bear named Pooh. He snuggles up close and says, I wanna be like you. Tuck him in bed and I kiss him goodnight. Tripping over the toys as I turn out the light. Whisper a prayer, someday you'll see. He's got a father and God, 'cause he's seen Jesus in me. Lord, I wanna be just like you, 'cause he wants to be just like me. Wanna be a holy example for his innocent eyes to see. Help me be a living Bible, Lord, that my little boy can read. I wanna be just like you, 'cause he wants to be like me. Got to admit I've got so far to go. Make so many mistakes and I'm sure that you know. Sometimes it seems no matter how hard I try, with all the pressures in life, I just can't get it all right. But I'm trying so hard to learn from the best. Being patient and kind, feel your tenderness. 'Cause I know that you learn from the things that he sees. And the Jesus he finds will be the Jesus in me. Lord, I wanna be just like you, 'cause he wants to be just like me. Wanna be a holy example
to Beyond Damage. Today we're going to be taking off from where we left off in the first video. We left off in the first video where Letecia picks Al up and they are returning home. This was on the morning of January the 28th, the day after Gannon's disappearance. At this time, he is still believed to be a runaway. So at 12:57 p.m. on January the 28th, there was a search from Letecia's phone that stated, "Can Nintendo find my Switch?" Now, I didn't mention this in the first video, but when Gannon disappeared, his Switch also disappeared. It's never been found. His Switch was like, his thing. He absolutely loved it. So the fact that it was gone kind of substantiated the fact that maybe he had run away because he took his Switch with him. At 4:04 p.m. on that day, the police show up at the house and they ask Letecia for Gannon's toothbrush. As you know, in cases like this, they always want to have a DNA profile on hand. So, of course, that's why they wanted Gannon's toothbrush. But Letecia became suspicious of this. And I think she became a little scared, if you want to know the truth. There also was a search on Letecia's phone at 4:19 p.m. that said, "Why would police ask for toothbrushes?" And so she messaged Al and says, "They're asking for our son's toothbrush, but say nothing's wrong. Something isn't right. I think they're hiding something." And Al messages back, "Who? The police?" And Letecia messages him and says, "Yes, they're asking for toothbrushes." And Al replies, "What do you think they're hiding?" At 7:02 p.m. that evening, Letecia's VW Tiguan is seen on surveillance leaving the Colorado Springs airport. Now, the location of the Tiguan is unknown between 7:02 and 8:08 p.m. At 8:08 p.m., the VW Tiguan is parked at a King Soopers parking lot for 10 minutes. At 8:30 p.m., the VW Tiguan enters the northwest area of Colorado Springs. At 9:15 p.m., the Tiguan is at 105 South Perry Park Road for 15 minutes. Now, they know the location of the Tiguan due to the GPS system. So, at 10:26 p.m. that evening, Harley, Letecia's daughter, leaves the house, and her phone pings off a cell tower near Powers and Carefree area, and it's believed that she went and picked up Letecia. So at 10:45 p.m. now, I'm not sure if maybe they are at the home trying to get some items because they've been told that they cannot stay at the home. I'm not sure if they are at their hotel or what have you, but the police have Harley, is what I'm thinking, in a room speaking with her. At this time, Letecia sends a text to the detective who is speaking with her daughter and says, "What do you want from me? Because I have nothing. One of your very own leaked to me what you guys were doing. I did nothing and or am being set up. I'm not really even sure other than that being told that by another blue with El Paso. I was told I couldn't go home to sleep, and on top of that, men were sent to a home with a minor female, and she was forced to stay there, not even to leave her food. Every conversation that said, even at this moment, I can hear inside, what do you want from me?" And the detective says, "Come in to talk to me. I would just like information to find Gannon." So, I don't know if maybe they had them in there questioning them that night. I don't know if they had them at the residence or at the hotel. But this event did occur, and then Letecia and Harley did stay in a hotel for that night. So now we're moving on to January the 29th, 2020. So at 9 a.m., Letecia returns the white Kia Rio to Avis Rent-A-Car, and she's then picked up by someone in a white VW Jetta. Now, as we know, Harley drives a white VW Jetta, so it's, more than likely it was Harley who picked her up, but we can't be sure because it was not caught on surveillance. So on the day of the 29th, I'm guessing from talking to the police the night before, Letecia had spoke with them and told them that she would come in the next morning for an interview. So she was supposed to be there at 10 for this interview. So 10 comes and goes, and there's no Letecia. But now at 11:30 a.m., a car wash and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to butcher the name of this place, East Plates and Bonfu. I'm sorry, I do not know. It's crazy. I'm going to have to get me like a voice thing that tells me words that I don't really know. But at 11:30 a.m. at a car wash in that area, a black Tiguan believed to be Letecia's is seen at the car wash, and when Letecia finally arrives to do her interview at 12 p.m., the police notice that her car is wet as if it's just been washed, and they do seize her vehicle at that time. Once the Tiguan is seized, it is transferred to the EPSO facility. So at this time, after getting her keys and everything, Letecia is noticed to have several pieces of paper in her hand before they're doing the interview. And when they sat down to do the interview, Letecia asked them if she can just read from her notes. So she has wrote notes down that she wants to go over about the disappearance. Now, this isn't like it's months down the road or even weeks down the road. It is 2 days after Gannon's disappearance, and Letecia's already got to read from notes. Like, that should be very, very, very fresh in your mind. And you shouldn't, if you have nothing to hide, read from notes. But, the police start conducting the interview, and Letecia goes and does a 180 with her story of what happened the day that Gannon disappeared. So, as we know, on the 26th, there was the incident with the candle wax. So, Letecia says that morning she had drove around in an area where there was a lot of labor workers, and she had stopped when she seen a Hispanic male working on a house, and his name was Eduardo. She said she asked Eduardo if he could fix the carpet. He had said he could, so she gave him her garage code and told him to come over to the house the next day while she was out shopping and fix the carpet. So Letecia tells them that she gets home and she goes down in the basement, and there is where Eduardo is waiting on her and then attacks her. She says that he held her at gunpoint and then he began to sexually assault her, and at some point she hit her head and blacked out. Now, she even says that Gannon, and this is just sick to me, her talking about Gannon trying to save her. She says that Gannon jumped on Eduardo's back and he easily threw Gannon across the room, trying to save her. So she says that when Lena comes home from school, Eduardo allows her to go upstairs, greet Lena, tell Lena to go outside and play, and then return back downstairs. Like, you wouldn't run outside and be like, there's a crazy man in my basement with a gun and my son's down there, he raped me. Or you wouldn't say, pick up the phone and call the police and tell them. No, you just turn around and go right back down to the crazy man downstairs with a gun who's trying to kill you and your son. That seems more logical, Letecia. Once she returns back down into the basement, he proceeds. She says that he then asks her for a suitcase and a cardboard box. She says that he attacks her for 1 hour and that she blacks out again. They examined Tisha's head to look to see if she had any injuries from where she had hit her head so many times and hard enough to black out. There was no injuries on Letecia's head. They also asked her if she would like a rape kit done, which she replied, no, absolutely not. So Letecia tells them, I want to leave, and she gets up and tries to leave. And they're like, listen, there's a couple things we got to do. So you are detained for now. You're not leaving. So they take her cell phone. They get a warrant. They take her cell phone, and they're waiting on a warrant for Letecia's DNA. And she starts complaining of chest pains and shortness of breath. Now, chest pains and shortness of breath is not something to be played around with. If you work in the medical field, you know that even when somebody comes in the ER complaining of chest pains and shortness of breath, you take them straight back. You don't mess around with stuff like that. So, obviously, the detectives are going to call an ambulance. Now, when the ambulance gets there, Letecia is able to talk to them, answer all their questions, and then the detectives get inside the ambulance with Letecia to ride with her to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital, for some reason, Letecia started getting to where she couldn't answer any of the medical attendants' questions or anything. So they arrive at the hospital, and Letecia makes a instant recovery. So they tell her they're going to do a physical exam on her, and they also let her know, hey, we're still waiting for that DNA warrant, and, we're going to collect that here. So Letecia, without the detectives knowing, signs herself out of the ER and leaves the hospital. Now, at the time, she was not under arrest, so it was not illegal for her to do so, but it was a very suspicious move. If you don't have nothing to hide, you're going to give the cops anything they want. You're going to give them your DNA. You're going to do just, especially, and I know with some sexual assault victims, and this is what pisses me off, guys, you have so many sexual assault victims out there that are afraid to come forward because they are afraid that people won't believe them, because you have so many women like Letecia, okay, who lie about being sexually assaulted. Letecia, that's not nothing to lie about. That's absolutely preposterous that you done that. I don't want to get off topic, but it really angers me because I am a victim of sexual assault. And it's not something to make up or, and I also understand that a victim of sexual assault may not want a rape kit. You already feel violated enough, so why would you want something like that? But when it comes to the attacker having took your son, and this could give a DNA profile, I think I would kind of, put myself through that for my son, but that's just me. That after Letecia leaves the hospital, she does meet up with Harley on down the road and gets with Harley. So Letecia's aunt takes her to the rental car place to rent a car. She gets a 2020 Nissan Altima. What Letecia doesn't know is that the investigators have got a warrant and are told that they can place a GPS tracker on this car, and they do so without Letecia's knowledge. 2:14 p.m. on January the 29th, Letecia takes Nicole, the landlord of the home that she shared with Al. So, in one of the texts that Letecia sends to her landlord, Nicole, she tells her, "You just don't know how hard it is to be a stepmom." As that may be so, Letecia, most of them don't do away with their stepchildren. They get a divorce. But you're not most people, are you? No, you're not, Letecia. So, on Thursday, January the 30th, Gannon is moved from a runaway to a missing and endangered person.
Gannon, Bubba, little man, wherever you're at, Mommy and Daddy's here. And we're begging and pleading for you to come home. I know that's your biggest wish, is to see Mommy and Daddy standing here. We're here, Bubba. We're here for you, and I can't wait till you're found, because I have hope that you are going to be found. You are my hero. You are the reason why I have life. He's so special to me, I don't think think many people can understand. My child was a 1 pound, 6 ounce baby. He had a 10% chance of survival. If he survived, he would be profoundly disabled. None of that is accurate. He's gifted and talented. Do anything for anybody. So I'm begging, I'm pleading, if anybody has any type of lead, put yourself in my situation. I'm begging, bring my baby home. Bubba, I love you. Mommy loves you so much. Nova loves you. Lena loves you. This room is filled with people that love you, and this community loves you too. So please come home, baby. Please come home. Again, and Daddy loves you so much. Please come home.
I want to mention here the law that's trying to be passed right now. That's Gannon's law, which makes children under a certain age labeled as missing and endangered from the time that they go missing, regardless if they're a runaway or what have you. They're labeled right then as a missing and endangered child. So the link to Gannon's law is down below. Make sure you go check that out. On Friday, January the 31st, the GPS tracker on Letecia's car shows that she is once again, now this is between 4:16 and 5:13 p.m., that she is once again heading to Douglas County and that she is near Highway 105 Perry Park Road. So on February the 1st, Letecia does an interview. I'm going to insert that interview here and let you guys check it out. Now, if you'll notice in the interview, she goes from saying that Gannon is to Gannon was, referring to him in past tense. But she can't stop talking about herself and the Facebook drama that's going on in the Facebook groups that have been created to give out information on finding Gannon. I'm going to insert some of those texts that Letecia wrote in these groups and on her Facebook as well, and we will go over them right here. So this one says, "Give me a break, you guys are fooled. This girl cared nothing about Gannon and all the reason Albert is supporting her until the truth comes out. This girl would go days without calling her kids, gave them up for a man, was involved in criminal activity, got on drugs, and posted nudes." So it's obvious she's talking about Landon in this post that she made. "I really don't care what any of you say because she is a piece of shit getting money off her child when she don't have shit and ain't never been shit. He fake cries or to sucker y'all in just like she did for years with Albert. Finally he realized and the kids came home. This was an accident, not some tragedy, and Gannon is alive. You are some wannabe reporters behind a keyboard. I was there. I have had contact with Albert. He knows the truth. G didn't want to be there because they pawned his items, and so I don't have the rest to this post, so we will move on to the next one now. Was it hard sometimes? Of course, because I grew up with Amy Lowry, my stepsister, and all of her families got along with no problem. So it was difficult navigating through that, but I want everyone to know that it was well with my soul because I would never harm a child, especially not our children. Sunday we went on a hike and Gannon was there crying with me because I was crying. It was the day Kobe passed. He had no idea who he was, just that I was upset. I had every intention of covering up the fire that he started and protecting his feelings from what punishment he thought that he was going to get. That was our plan. I had the video because somehow my phone was recording and you can hear how sorry he was. I have the pictures after we returned home, so please don't believe what these people are speculating. Albert is hurt. He has a lot on him and he has always left me in charge of the kids. He has to go through his emotions, but we'll start to remember how I helped rescue them and have been our family's rock. I'm going to make the next post just about Gannon, but I wanted to clear up some of these allegations. You guys can stop here and read the rest if you'd like. I don't want to make this video 2 hours long. I'm going to go ahead and say this so y'all can delete me. No desperation here, just to show how dumb people are. It is well with my soul, but I've had enough. Call it trashy, but I've had enough of the lies and threats. Most of y'all in these speculation groups are delusional. First, the neighbor sold the video for money. Then there was another one from the other side that was sent in, but they haven't released that because of these want to be detectives. It's a tactic to keep idiots busy while we find Gavin. You guys claim to come together but have brought hate in the same sentences. Gannon's mom didn't give a shit about him or his sister. She had them at motels, abusive situations, criminal scenes with her husband, did drugs. Heck, Gannon even found her iPad with her doing drugs, and we have pictures of those. Albert rescued them from guns in the back of their cars, police stops, living place to place, no home, and even had to fly on a plane from Alaska through the night to bring them back to us because she changed their school 3 times and had no place to live. She sold his toys, his Switch, and other items for drugs. So keep thinking that she cares and raising money. Gannon is still out there, and for those of you making all these speculations in some groups are idiots. What about raising money for a reward, not supporting someone who is faking? They know exactly what was told to them, and they have followed those leads. Downing a person who is taking care of kids more than their mom is stupid. Know the facts. They don't involve someone hurting them. This is who you are putting on a pedestal while trying to bully someone else based on tasteless wannabe keyboard detectives. Do what Gannon would do. Realize he needs to be home so he can be with people who took care of him and loved him. Wow, she is pretty damn low, man. Now, here is the interview that Letecia conducted on February the 1st. Judge for yourself.
You are?
I am Letecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20-some death threats already. 2, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And, of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time, correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was 2 really good detectives, and so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives, they're supposed to twist, the one main goal is to find Gannon, but during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things, so I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. There was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there?
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse.
And
they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun, and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, who is this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping, because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. They could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with this.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows, and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon.
He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon.
And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. And we've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel when not only have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay, but he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay.
So I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Garden of the Gods. Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so,
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm going to go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just, I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore, and for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted, and that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that, and that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
That's right.
I can take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with legal stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope. Am I on camera now?
You are still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things, because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon.
I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon.
Or any of the children in our home, because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like, we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract, so I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, and
Do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
it definitely is. And here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care, about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like, we just should not. We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens, because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened.
Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened.
And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
So over the next few weeks, the detectives are collecting evidence. So they go in, they do say that family has still been living at the residence during this time, but the evidence they find in there is just overwhelming. They also find evidence in the cars that were seized from the residence. Al's truck was seized. Letecia's car was seized. And they also went and got the rental car from Avis Rental Cars. Now, at South Perry Park Road, they find a piece of cardboard, particle board is what they called it, with blood on it, and it is positive as Gannon's blood. So once they are doing a search on this house, they obviously test it with luminol. Luminol is a substance that reacts with the hemoglobin inside of blood, and it makes it glow, I guess you would say. And so once they done this, they found blood in so many places of this home, and especially in Gannon's room. Law enforcement had contacted Al, and he had agreed to record all of his phone calls between him and Letecia. Now, if I was Al, I can't say this is what was done, because the phone calls are not released yet. They said they did not want to make a media circus of this, and I do not blame them. It has turned into a media circus, but not because of them releasing a bunch of information like is usually released in most high-profile cases. But if I was Al, I would still act like that I love this person and that I was concerned about this person, just to get information from them. And I think that may be what Al had done, because I did find some text where he's like, I don't understand this either, and, I want to speak with you. And so, I believe he did do that just to get more information out of Letecia. And over the next few weeks, Letecia would come up with the most crazy stories to tell Al that had happened that day. She changed her story numerous times, guys, and the stories that she came up with was crazy. Letecia calls Al, and she tells him that Quincy Brown had attacked her and Gannon. She sends him a picture of a guy. Now, if you would have Googled convicts in the El Paso County area or the Colorado Springs area, Quincy Brown was a wanted man at this time, so it was very easy to get his information. I'll put his picture up here for you guys so you guys can see his picture of what Letecia sent Al. She tells him, in this story, she tells Al that her and Gannon arrived home. She was raped by Quincy Brown at her home, and Brown abducted Gannon. She knew Brown's identity because she saw a paper with his ID card fall out of his pocket. Letecia then sent a photo of Quincy Brown to Al via text. So, let's go through the stories. Came to the house on 127. The abductor was still in the house, and she tried to tell deputies that somebody was there. EPSO deputies checked the entirety of the house, and no additional person was located. Story 2. She was raped by Quincy Brown at her home, and Brown abducted Gannon. She knew Brown's identity because she saw a paper with his ID card fall out of his pocket. Letecia sent a photo of Quincy Brown to Al via text. Quincy followed her from Petco. At some point was laying in the middle of the road in front of her. When she stopped not to run him over, he jumped in the car and made her take him home, where he raped her. Letecia and Gannon were near County Line Road and Highway 105 in North El Paso County on 127. Gannon was riding a bicycle in the area, fell, hit his head, and was then abducted by Quincy Brown. Brown was driven by a man named Terrence. Oh, and there's more that we'll get to later that she is claiming now, but we're not there yet. So on February the 16th, Letecia messages a woman named Tila Cummings, and I hope I'm getting that name right. And she tells Tila that she is basically lying to Al because he's not gonna believe the truth anyway. Jesus Christ. So on February the 17th at 1:53 p.m., she texts Laura Abernathy, and she tells her she's thinking of flying to Colorado to take a lie detector test. That the police think she's still in Colorado, but she's not. No, I mean, if that don't make you look guilty, you've already ran, you already left the state. Like, come on. At 4:11 p.m. on the same day, she tells a woman that she is going to take a lie detector test, but police would not be present, and that it wouldn't be admissible in court. So on February the 18th at 10:14 a.m., Letecia calls a number associated with fakepolygraph.com. Now, I actually looked this up for you guys, and this is what fake polygraph looks like. It's pretty crazy. So during that call, Letecia stated that she never got the confirmation for a test she paid for, and the representative stated that he would resend her the results to her email. So at 11:16, she calls the fake polygraph representative back. So during this call, Letecia inquired about an email she received. The unknown mail stated that her report was blocked by management based on the content of the questions, and stated that with any illegal activities, they reserve the right to not send the report. Letecia's response was the following. Letecia, what do you do now? Just delete it and go on about life and keep the money? The mail said, yes, we do indeed. And Letecia replied, okay, I gotcha, thank you, bye. So the investigators contacted Luke Devlin, which I'm guessing is who Letecia spoke with. And Mr. Devlin provided information to investigators, including the questions and the answers that Letecia had provided. Now let's go over the questions that Letecia wanted on her fake polygraph test, shall we? Question 1. Do you intend to answer the questions regarding your stepson truthfully? Answer: yes. Question 2. Is your birthday August 4th, 1983? Answer: yes. Now, as we all know, on polygraph tests, they'll do these answers, like your birthday and your name, to kind of get a feel on how your heart is reacting, how your pulse is reacting to the polygraph test. Question 3. Did you participate in any way causing harm to your stepson? Answer: no. Question 4. Did your stepson return with you to your home? She's talking about the day that they are seen on surveillance leaving the home. Answer: yes. Question: did you participate in any way causing the death of your stepson? Answer: no. Now, if this does not throw up red flags, I don't know what does. When somebody is contacting a fake polygraph site, now if they had answered these truthfully, why not just go and get a real one done? I got my polygraph done and I passed that thing, so I'm innocent. But not Letecia. On March the 2nd, Letecia Stauch is arrested in South Carolina. They also search and conduct their investigation down in South Carolina at her residence that she's staying at down there. So on March the 2nd, when Letecia is arrested, there is a press conference at which Landon Hutt and Al Stauch did speak.
We thank you for your patience as we work diligently to piece together what led to Gannon's disappearance. We will not be taking any questions at the conclusion of the press conference. However, I will be reading a statement from Gannon's father, Al. Landon may not speak. Please respect the family's request for privacy as they begin to absorb and process the devastating news they have received today.
Today marks 5 weeks since the investigation into the disappearance of Gannon Stauch. While we've yet to locate Gannon, this morning, just after 8 o'clock a.m. East Coast time, Letecia Stauch was taken into custody in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina without incident. Letecia will be held without bond in the J. Reuben Long Detention Center in Horry County, South Carolina, where she will remain until she's extradited back to Colorado Springs on the following charges. Charge 1, murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age by a person in a position of trust. Child abuse resulting in death. Tampering with a deceased human body and tampering with physical evidence. This has been a rapidly developing and highly complex investigation. On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, all of the investigators, the staff, the volunteers involved in this investigation from all over the United States, we'd like to express our deepest sympathies to Gannon's family and friends. There is no way to express the depth of our sympathy, and our hearts break for you. But I make this promise, this team will continue its work. These partners will remain steadfast and diligent until the conclusion and final prosecution of this case. We will not stop, and this investigation has only begun.
As you can see from the arrest, sadly, I do not believe Gannon is alive. Our work is only just beginning, and you will continue to see many law enforcement officials in El Paso County over the coming weeks and possibly months as we continue our relentless pursuit of justice for Gannon and his family. The death of a child is something no parent should ever have to endure. This case has not just been an investigation for us. This case has become very personal and will forever remain in our hearts.
On behalf of the men and women of the FBI, all the special agents, investigative analysts, support staff, and our task force officers, we express our deepest condolences to the family, the friends, and the loved ones of Gannon Stauch. To the press, I also ask that you give the family space and time in order to process the information that they're dealing with now. That at this point, all the evidence points to Gannon's disappearance being the result of foul play.
This is not the outcome that anybody here wanted. We wish today, as we were standing here, that we had little Gannon with us to be able to present our community still alive and doing well. Unfortunately, that's not the situation. As you've heard, an arrest warrant was issued for first-degree murder of Gannon in this case. Unfortunately, we've had to get to know the family now. It's part of our prosecution family, and they'll be with us for the next many months going forward.
I want to let everybody know that the affidavit in this case supporting the arrest warrant remains sealed. We do understand why this case has drawn the attention it has from across our community and also across our country. But we want to do everything we can to make sure we achieve justice for Gannon. So we're not going to talk about the facts of the case going forward.
Really, I'm not in the correct mindset to be even standing up here, but if I had to say one thing, that when he said Gannon is no longer with us, I'd have to say Gannon is with us. Never thought I'd be standing here. This is a nightmare. I've had to put trust in the people I don't know. Today, I got the worst news and the best news. Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served, and I'll make sure that justice is served, because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him. The stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done. And I know that that's going to will be done. So I ask you guys, I beg and plead of you, if you've known or if you see this story, all of you have seen this story, please hold that very close to you. Because I want to live this earth knowing that justice was served for my boy. And I know that you've seen pictures, you've seen stories, you've seen my little man. He is truly my hero. And I'm gladly giving that to you guys too, that he can be your hero. Gannon has a testimony. That Gannon has a story. He's special. And this is his story. So make that story magnificent.
So now I'm going to read a statement from Al, Gannon's dad. In a moment on September 29th, 2008, my heart stopped as my baby boy entered this world way too early, weighing only 1 pound, 6 ounces. His infectious smile and constant laughter made an impact on every single person he's ever met. Although I miss the years when he was learning to walk, learning to talk, and he had welcomed his little sissy home from the hospital. I've been looking forward to his teenage years and the fun we had ahead of us as he became a young man. In a moment, on March 2nd, 2020, my heart stopped again with what we have heard up to this point. My little boy is not coming home. We will never play Nintendo again. No more Taco Tuesdays. No more smooth-looking haircuts. No more Big Bubba for my Lena, and no more G-Man for the world. The person who committed this heinous, horrible crime is one that I gave more to anyone else on this planet, and that is a burden that I will carry with me for a very long time. But the God I believe in is the owner and decider of justice and vengeance. Only He can repay. Although I am selfish and want my baby boy here, now and forever, how can I question God for bringing Gannon home to him? Because Gannon believed in God, and I will never stop believing.
So the day she's arrested, she goes in front of the judge, and the judge, well, I'll let you guys see a little snippet of her first court appearance in South Carolina.
Do you know anything about extradition? Well, you're going to learn. This morning, you have a decision to make. You can either waive extradition or you can fight extradition. Stauch? Miss Stauch, and that you are wanted for a felony in the state of Colorado. So, my question to you is, do you want to waive extradition or do you want to fight extradition?
So when you said something about fighting it, I have to do what now?
Well, you don't have to do anything. You just have to sit until the hearing comes up. If you waive extradition, they have 20 days to come get you. I would be surprised if they weren't already in the air, but that's just me.
If the hearing is here, what does that decide?
It just decides whether you go back to Colorado or not.
Well, I've still never been given the opportunity, like, since the beginning, to even call our attorneys, even talk to him about any of these things.
Well, it doesn't matter either way to me, because I'm just asking the question. I don't care what the answers are, but it's your choice.
So you're saying it's not like a guarantee, it's just a hearing?
It's just a hearing where they have to prove you are who you are and that you're wanted for a felony. Those are the two things they have to prove in an extradition hearing. Okay, what you want to do, young lady?
So Colorado.
If somebody is a fugitive from one state, I don't let them be a fugitive from two states. So it's not like if you answered either way, it would make any difference as far as the hearing today goes, because I'm not going to set bond. Of course, with the charges that are involved, I couldn't set bond anyway, I don't think. Anyway,
yeah, I didn't run from you guys, so I don't have any trouble with you guys. I didn't even know anything yesterday.
Because of the charges you're charged with, as far as today's concerned, I don't believe I'd say too much more. Okay?
So on March the 3rd, 2020, Letecia is released from J. Reuben Long Detention Center in Horry County, South Carolina at 2:33 p.m. to be extradited back to Colorado. On March the 4th, she is booked in Kansas for courtesy hold in Saline County because she attacked the deputy. She slipped her handcuffs. She attacked him, sent him to the hospital, trying to escape. On March the 5th, she arrives in Colorado Springs and is booked into El Paso County Jail on charges of first-degree murder, child abuse, tampering with evidence, and tampering with a deceased human body. On this same day, Al Stauch goes to file for a divorce from Letecia. Now, here is a small portion of the divorce papers that I found. In the divorce paper, Al basically, says that, or Al's lawyer, that she is believed to have killed his son, that they will pay no spousal support, no alimony, no court costs or lawyer's fees for her, that they will split any debt occurred during the marriage 50-50, and that his French bulldog will be returned to him as soon as possible. And I can absolutely see why that he wants to be divorced to her, aside from being able to testify from her. Like, my Jesus, why would he want to be married to this woman? And the guilt that I know Al must live with, and even though it wasn't his fault, there's no way this man could have known what he was getting himself into when he married Letecia. And in no way is Gannon's death his fault because he married a psycho. Gannon's death is no one's fault aside from Letecia Stauch's. That's it. Now, I do want to add into this video, Harley, Letecia's daughter, is believed to not been a part of any of this. I'm not sure if she knew about any part of it. I feel like Letecia's movements kind of were suspicious, and I would have had questions as a daughter. But we also got to realize that, Harley's father died from a substance abuse issue at a very young age, and she's always only had Letecia, and Letecia had her at a young age, and so of course she's going to believe what her mother tells her. And if she's lived with someone who is so narcissistic and manipulative like this her whole life, we don't know what the mindset of this child is anymore. So Letecia has her first court hearing in Colorado Springs on March the 11th. Here's you guys just a little snippet of that for entertainment purposes. I don't know. But I thought you guys might want to see just a little bit of her first court appearance in Colorado Springs.
This is an emotional case for a lot of people. almost all cases involving a charge of first-degree murder are. The responses there, and I will give Mr. Zansberg an opportunity to reply, and then I will deal with that. One of the other things that I wanted to confirm, because it's represented in the motion, that the prosecution does not object to the unsealing of the probable cause affidavit. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, Judge.
First homicide goes to Division 1. Second homicide, unlike the other homicides that I've had, well, and I'm sure you've seen it where you're in one division because something gets filed.
I just know that because of just the sheer volume of this, I don't even have reports yet. It was over 107 search warrants in this case. Yes, 107. I think that number is bigger than that number, though, just based on that was last week sometime that I heard that.
Were they all issued locally by a judge?
No, there were some search warrants issued in South Carolina as well.
It's a civil week, and we do have trials.
I think it'll be all right.
If we did it at this time?
We can do it at 3.
Okay, so April 14th at 3 p.m.
Just for the record, that works with us and with the victim's family.
Okay, so April 14th, 3 p.m. Okay. We're going to do a couple of things between now and then. First thing that Mr. Allen's going to do is release the PC affidavit by email to Ms. Strobel. Second thing that Mr. Allen is going to have for me.
So now we're going to go over basically everything that's happened since Letecia's arrest on March 2nd. I just want to kind of go over this. That way you guys have a good idea of what's happening with the case, what's happening with her, and the crazy antics she's been doing since she's been in jail. On March the 20th in Pace, Florida, a construction crew is working along the bridge there, and I'll show you guys the location here. I looked it up on Google Maps, and this is what the location looks like. They're doing construction on this bridge, and one of the construction workers found a suitcase, and inside the suitcase is human remains. It is confirmed that these remains were the remains of Gannon Stauch. These remains were the remains of Gannon Stauch, all the way in Pace, Florida. So many miles from his home. So many miles from his family.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Allen. I'm the Senior Deputy District Attorney prosecuting the Letecia Stauch case. I do know that I speak for everyone who's been involved in this case when I say that our hearts are with Gannon's family and his friends. This will address only what has taken place as a result of that development in this case. As I've said in the past, we will not try this case in the media. Today I filed new formal charges in the case against Letecia Stauch. Those charges are murder in the first degree after deliberation, a Class 1 felony that carries a potential prison sentence of life in prison without parole. In addition to that, I've filed 8 counts of crime of violence for the alleged use of a firearm, a blunt instrument, a knife or other sharp object, and for causing the death of Gannon Stauch. These new charges are added to the original 4 charges that we originally filed in this case. Keep in mind, these are merely allegations. All defendants are presumed innocent until and unless they are proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I will not compromise the integrity of this investigation, so I will not discuss the circumstances surrounding Gannon's death, nor any details regarding the discovery of his body. We met with the family earlier today, and obviously they're distraught with this information. They were still holding out hope that Gannon would come home alive despite the original charges that we filed in this case, and they're struggling, and they rightfully would be, considering the circumstance of this case. It's tragic, and we, like I said at the beginning, our hearts go out to them.
Crime Online done an interview with the neighbor who provided the surveillance footage And something I didn't mention in the first video was that the neighbor actually had asked Letecia if she wanted to look at his surveillance to see if she could see where Gannon had went, and she had told them no. Then when Al got home, the neighbor took the footage to Al, and Al starts crying, and he's like, she lied to me about the time. So, I think that was a slap in the face when he's seen that surveillance footage, to see that she was nothing but a pathological liar. So in the interview he done with Crime Online, Letecia was claiming that he gave the wrong dates, that Harley had parked her car in the spot on the 27th.
I just wanted to chime in here and say, look at the protection that this woman has in this courtroom. Gannon sure didn't have any protection when you were doing what you done to him, now did he?
Yeah, we know what for, Letecia. And the truck was on the road then. Roderick Drayton said that he was not only sure that Letecia left January 27th and returned home alone, he gave footage to the FBI with timestamps showing what days they were recorded on. He also said on Sunday he looked fine. He said he's seen him and Lena outside playing, and then Letecia had come out and told them to get in the truck, told Gannon to get in one side, Lena to get in the other. I'm guessing they went to Garden of the Gods. He said they were fine. He said on Sunday he looked fine. He was running around playing with his sister. On Monday he looked drugged. He looked sick. He could barely walk. He said there's a lot more footage that he provided to the FBI that has not been made public. So we don't know what all footage that the FBI has. He did say that the FBI recorded footage from that whole week, so they know everything that Letecia done that whole week. Every time she left that house, every time she came back, every time she was outside, every time the doors opened to that house, Letecia is recorded doing so. And remember that statement for our next video when we go over all this evidence that they have in the affidavit. So on April 2nd, the affidavit was actually leaked by a woman who worked in the city attorney's office. Her name was Cherie. I cannot read her last name. Farsteet. I'm not sure. But she was actually charged with releasing that affidavit, and she just this past December pleaded guilty and was charged a fine for releasing the affidavit. It's not clear if she still works for the attorney's office. I wouldn't say that she does, but again, it's unclear.
Arrest affidavit unsealed to the public today. Besides Colette Bordelon breaking down the gruesome picture it paints. Originally, this was going to be unsealed next week, but the courts decided to do it today since a copy was leaked on social media. The paperwork shows a series of lies, an attempt to get fake polygraph results, and Gannon's blood throughout the Stauch home. For a while now, we've only had bits and pieces.
We can see a picture if we only have half of the puzzle.
But now, a picture becoming more clear, no matter how devastating the details.
There's a significant pool of blood. There's blood splatter. There's blood on her car.
Attorney Stephen Longo weighed in on the unsealed arrest affidavit for Letecia Stauch.
It really shuts the door on any potential credibility she might try to have. The only potential plea agreement would be a matter of efficiency for her to plead to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Longo says that's the best option for the defense, which also has to account for a defendant who showed strange behavior after her stepson's disappearance, like washing her car before a police interview and bringing notes to it, along with giving alibis and excuses for certain evidence that hadn't been revealed to the public yet.
So on May 13th, Lee Egan with Crime Online done an interview with Letecia on the phone. And in the interview, it said that Letecia revealed that she had had a chance to think more clearly since being in jail. She was claiming that she had PTSD due to the investigation, and I'm guessing the death threats and all the stuff that she had experienced since all this stuff happened. Like, serious, Letecia, you have PTSD? Gannon lost his life. Poor, pitiful you, Letecia. Poor, pitiful you. The maternal aunt, Veronica Tuberville Strickland Birkenstock, also said in this article from Crime Online, which their link is listed down below, that the family will not make any statements until the trial is over, which I can absolutely understand, because they would just be bombarded by everybody every day, every second. On May the 15th, volunteers from their community actually organized a poker ride, which is where they stop in one location. They're usually on motorcycles. They stop in one location, they play a hand of poker, they move to the next. If you lose, you don't move on and what have you. But they organize this fundraiser to help the family with expenses and things like that, which is amazing that this community came together. On May the 18th, Letecia's escape plan from jail was brought to light. So the affidavit from the escape plan was released, and I'm going to read you guys the affidavit. Deputy Catherine Draper, a sworn deputy with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, here after referred to as I, was assigned as the primary deputy in Ward Alpha 2 in the El Paso County Jail located at 2739 East Las Vegas Street in Colorado Springs. So Letecia is now charged with solicitation to commit escape. Okay, she's never getting out anyway. I can't believe she wasn't given the death penalty, considering how vicious this was, but, that's for another video, another time. At approximately 7 o'clock, Miss Teresa Bockard, date of birth 6/25/1979, asked to speak with me. This is the deputy telling her story. Miss Bockard, and I'm guessing that's how you spell her name, Miss Borchard, it's Teresa Borchard, or Borchard, it's Borchard, is an inmate at the El Paso County Jail. Miss Borchard said she has received a couple letters from Miss Letecia Stauch, date of birth 8/4/1983. Miss Stauch is an inmate at the El Paso County Jail. Miss Borchard stated the letters she received from Miss Stauch contained written plans for Miss Stauch's escape. I asked where these letters were, and Miss Borchard told me they were in her cell. Miss Borchard told me that when Miss Stauch has her hour out, she stops by Miss Borchard's cell number 4, and talks with Miss Borchard. Also explained to me that Miss Stauch will pass notes to her and other inmates by sliding the notes under their doors or through the door jamb. So now, because Letecia done this, she is confined. She's not took around any inmates. She is in solitary confinement, which is, if the woman's not already crazy, she's going to be. You brought this on yourself, woman. I don't even want to hear you crying about it. At approximately 7 o'clock, I went into Miss Borchard's cell and interviewed her. This is where Miss Borchard gave me both letters she had received from Miss Stauch. Miss Borchard told me that Miss Stauch has been talking a lot lately to the other inmates in the ward. Miss Borchard said that Miss Stauch told her she has been making plans to escape and was looking for Miss Borchard's help. Miss Borchard told me that she had not read one of the letters written by Miss Stauch because Miss Borchard had been in court all afternoon. Miss Borchard told me she received the letter before she went to court when Miss Stauch was on her hour out. So they give them an hour a day to kind of walk around, exercise, they get out into the common area. During the interview, Miss Borchard stated Miss Stauch said she was planning on breaking out her cell window and measured herself. Miss Stauch said that she will fit through the window. I asked Miss Borchard why Miss Stauch would choose her to help Miss Stauch escape. Miss Borchard said it was because she was Italian and kind of the bad boy. Miss Borchard stated Miss Stauch thought if she offered Miss Borchard money, she would help her escape. I asked Miss Borchard if she was going to give Miss Stauch any help, and Miss Borchard said, "No way. That is why I told you about the letters to begin with." Ms. Borger says she knows about Ms. Stauch's charges and she doesn't want to be involved or have anything to do with her. She said if she did anything, it would be to use her for commissary. I received 2 letters from Ms. Borger she claimed were from Ms. Stauch. Both letters had similar handwriting. In the first letter I opened, it was written that the writer's G-Pa was putting $75,000 in an account for a private attorney. It was written that the account was open for the author's daughter to use as well. The author wrote to Ms. Borger saying she would much rather use the money to survive, if you know what I mean. It was added in the letter that the letter was written partially in code because her letters get opened. It was written in the letter about a visit she was having tonight at 8 p.m., and they confirmed that she did have a visit. In a second letter, the author wrote she had been looking for days at her window. The author stated she already measured and drew something that resembled the window in her cell. This drawing can be found at the bottom of this letter. It's actually not here, guys, or I'd show it to you. The letter stated asking Miss Borger to check the broom piece since Miss Borger gets to use that item on her time out. The author added in her letter she was dead serious and asked Miss Borger to just think hard. At the bottom of the letter, the author asked Miss Borger to throw the note away in the toilet. At approximately 2300 hours, Deputy Jennifer Jago, I'm not sure, guys, and I went into Miss Stauch's cell. I told Miss Stauch to put her shoes on because she was being moved. During a shakedown of Miss Stauch's cell, I found another letter addressed to Sweetie. In this letter, the author makes the comment that if something comes up on the news like she is no longer in jail or is missing, to not be afraid. On the back of one of the pages was the name Harley, which is the name of Miss Stauch's daughter. The author wrote for this person to just keep normal and focused, underlining these comments. She wrote for this person to trust her on this and underlined it. Like, come on, Letecia. Like, what else you gonna do? Oh, but there's more, y'all. There's more. So on June the 5th, a psych exam was actually ordered for Letecia due to the craziness. I guess they thought it was crazy she was trying to escape jail. Ordered a competency hearing to make sure that she would be able to be competent enough to withstand trial. On July the 17th, she was actually moved to the state mental hospital to do her competency exam. Letecia actually wrote a letter to her judge. Get ready, sit down, buckle up, because you're going for a ride. At the top of it, it says, for Judge Gregory Werner, District 15. And this was wrote August 12th, 2020. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I thank you for taking the time out to read my letter and my concerns about an unfair process that is going on in my case. I have exposed these concerns several times to my defense team and feel that I have not been afforded my right as a United States citizen. It has been 5 months and I've met with my defense team one time in March 2020. It is the middle of August. I understand this pandemic is unforeseen, but I don't feel I should be held unconstitutionally, denied access to my attorneys, have constitutional rights revoked, and be abused in the process. First, as you know, there is over 30,000 and growing pages of discovery in my case. I cannot successfully participate in my defense on a phone call 3 times a week, 1 hour, at the jail. I have no way to view any videos, read any reports, review phone data, etc. I'm not an active participant in my case. I know that the jail is listening to my attorney-client calls, as in several occasions I commented about someone or something specific and the jail immediately acted upon it. Officers also wait outside the door, easy to hear, and sometimes a video camera is on at the TV near the phone. Sir, these things are a violation of my rights. In addition, I have no way to write things down as I am always restrained with more times than not causing injury. I understand you cannot tell the jail how to run their facility, but I know that I cannot ignore my rights being violated. Next, sir, I understand the 8th Amendment protects cruel and unusual punishment, and I know the Supreme Court says punishment can be just for the crimes. However, in a county jail, and I'm presumed innocent, not to mention I am innocent, and we will prove it. I've been a pillar in my community in South Carolina. I have no adult record. Okay. Never done drugs and have a doctorate degree in education. I've proven myself as a responsible citizen and should not be subject to the cruel punishment that I receive at CJC. Over 15 plus times I have been abused in transport, ranging from injured ribs, knot on my head, several ankle and wrist bleedings, bruises on my knees in my cell, loss of feeling in my hands several times. I've had to be on insure 2 weeks due to the poison comments, and just recently on 8/11/2020 I received threats in my peanut butter because I provided evidence of not only my innocence but evidence that will show who it was through my PI. Oh my gosh, people putting threats in the peanut butter. As a result of this, I assume the runners use people in trusted positions in jail to send me threats in my food, and I'm terrified of what will happen next. I don't know how I'm supposed to properly defend myself going through this unfair punishment, being denied my constitutional rights, being denied access to my attorneys, being under scrutiny, causing daily mental disturbances, being restrained, causing injuries, being denied law, liberty, access, etc. This is not okay in a county in which our country prides itself on democracy. A country with a flag that got a hole in it at Flanders Field in World War I. One that turned blood red in World War II. Or the one that got cut with the sword at Chancellorsville. Through all of this, the flag stood. We raise her up high because this country still stands for freedom, perseverance, justice, and vigilance. I know what Congress decided on June 14th, 1717, Flag Day, that it still rings true that not even the evil terrorist of 9/11 can take the American spirit away. However, I am showing the same things that flag shows: valor, courage, purity, and innocence, to write to you to say, I do not feel like a U.S. citizen being treated this way in my beloved country. I'm not getting a fair process. I'm not getting represented properly, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt of a pandemic, but the other unjust treatment is not the way that our founding fathers intended this process to go. Not to mention no pandemic, no terrorist attack, no police riots, etc. can stop our country from being the greatest on earth, upholding the law and staying true to following constitutional rights. This is just the surface of my concerns. As you will see, they only get worse with the legal search and seizure. I was a violation of coercion, as it's mutual and physical. Got a little steamed there, y'all. Sir, you can tell I'm educated. I know Miranda versus Arizona. However, a person cannot perform, and that's underlined, under this scrutiny, abuse, coercion, etc. And that's what has happened throughout this entire process. Besides, due to info from my PI, I don't even feel that El Paso has jurisdiction, not to mention the wrong individual. I reach out to let you know that I'm very concerned with the process because I know that you will uphold the integrity of the court. The judicial system that I know does not allow a person who is presumed innocent, and who is, to improperly defend themselves, to be subjected to daily abuse and 8th Amendment violations, does not deny 5th and 6th Amendment or speedy fair trials, does not interfere with attorney-client privileges. Yes, I can tell you many situations in which I know they are listening. Does not physically, mentally, and emotionally abuse innocent people waiting on trial, does not allow that individual to be in danger not just from inmates but from employees also, and does not avoid these situations causing an individual's mental health to decline and safety be at risk. I live each day not knowing what will happen to me. What person will put something else in my food, what rights I will be denied tomorrow, or what injuries will occur next. I support law enforcement. I support our military, our country, and I know that a few bad apples incidents can ruin it for good people. I extend my concerns to you as a first step in this because my attorneys have refused to let you know due to the public knowing. My life is on the line. I'm innocent and I'm ready to return home and use the doctorate degree, EDD, that I worked diligently for, and cannot do that if I'm not afforded those rights. If I'm fighting for my life daily, I'm clearly no threat to myself, etc. No, you're just a threat to all the children that live in your home. Again, this is just the surface of my concerns and ask that something be done so I can get this behind me. Move past this trial in life. Forgive those who persecuted and afflicted me. Continue to be a soldier for Christ and repair my mental state, and most importantly, grieve. I need those constitutional rights in order to be successful and participate in this process. I'm a prisoner bound in chains, like Paul said, but I know my Bible's not bound. I also know he appointed people in authority and to respect them because they are chosen to uphold the law. Please accept this as my letter of letting you know, first, not going over the court's head and following the appropriate chains of command. Something has to be done, sir. Thank you. P.S. If there is any way possible to receive acknowledgement of your receipt of this letter so that I know you are aware. Jesus Christ. Poor, poor, pitiful you. Again, Letecia, poor, poor, pitiful you. Memorial in South Carolina was held for Gannon.
Until then, I live to hear you say, well done, well done. My good intentions won. Welcome to the place where you belong. Well done, well done. The honor of a child. You have won the race, and now you're home. Welcome to the place where you belong. Well done.
So our Bubba is just a life. He smiles. He has a smile that just brightens up the room. And that happened the time he was able to smile. He just had a grace, an humbling spirit about him. I guess I can explain it as just an old man that would just sit and just have a heart of gold that would do anything for anybody. He didn't care who you are, what color you were, your disability. He didn't care where you came from. He's seen your heart. And I've learned something. What I've learned is that things don't go our way. I've also learned the reason why Gannon is my hero, and sometimes I forget by the way I act. Sometimes we all get kind of caught up in the moment. But Gannon is my hero. He gives me life. In the moments that I would feel the lowest, you'd see him just run to the door and say, "Hey, my beautiful mommy." And it just made all the bad feelings go away. He was a brother to many, many families, many nephews, many nieces. And I think we can all say one thing in common. There was not many people like him. I was chosen to be a mom of an angel. Albert, you were chosen to be a father of an angel. Lena, Nova, you were chosen to be a sister of an angel. And the people that are here, you've had experience of an angel. And I also want to take this time to say, I've had wrongdoings. And for the people that I've wronged, I just want to say I'm sorry, because I'm not representing who my son is. And he's done just that. He is my G-man. The reason for G-man is because he's a gentleman. He'd open the doors. He'd say, "Yes, ma'am." He'd say, "No, sir." You didn't really have to tell him much. He knew where to go. The only time you'd have to tell him something was when he's with the kids or he's trying to get candy and he was the first one in the pot. So he might get a little rough then and there. He can hear sounds and music that I can't hear. He was so in tune with life, so talented in many different ways. So many more ways than most of us sitting in the room. And I can say that I'm so honored to be his mom, to be in his life, to have the people here. Because Gannon's not only my hero, he's your hero. And it means the world to me. And I just want to say thank you for everyone that is here, for all the pouring love from everywhere, from everything that was made, every letter, every card, every banner that was signed, every Facebook message, every letter that was sent in the mail, every light, every memorial. Just means so much. And you're a real life princess. You're going to do anything in this world. And I know you can. And Bubba's going to be right there beside you. And for Nova and Lena, you had a brother that stuck to you like glue. He wouldn't want you to fall. He wouldn't want you to get hurt. He was Mr. Fix-It. But I knew Gannon had a special calling. I thought it was he would grow up and we'd see him leading many people, or whether it would be speaking, coding. I just knew that he had a huge calling. And I didn't know at 11 years old the calling that he would have. I'd still have him here with me. And I know that all of you would love to see him here with you too. But we have an angel among us.
Bubba was the nicest person, my only brother and my favorite brother. Every time I was going to tell on him, he just made me laugh and forget about it. We always had lots of fun. I love him, and he's the greatest person in the whole
So I
wide
forgot to
world.
mention while
That
I'm recording
I know.
this
We
that
went to the
Letecia
pool
signed
together.
this
We
Dr.
played
T.
Fortnite together.
Stauch.
We played Fortnite in real life together. We played with all of our toys in Nana's room. He would make me foods.
Just hours before the
say
memorial, they
when we
laid
need
Gannon's
to go
body
take a
to
bath
rest.
or shower and watch TV with me downstairs. I love you, Bubba, and I miss you.
Today's been a day. This morning I got up and as the sun rose over Charleston Harbor, I scattered the ashes of my father that I barely knew in the Charleston Harbor, because that's what he wanted, as he passed away recently. And about 10 o'clock this morning, I had to bury my sweet son in the cemetery in Charleston. And but like everybody before me said, this is about a joy and celebration of Gannon's life. I mean, we do have a lot of pain and sadness, but as you've heard the stories of how he came into this life fighting, I will let you know this. He left this world fighting too, and that's why we keep going. people all the time, it's like, how do you do it? How do you do it? I don't know. I don't know how we're doing it, but just to honor him, that's why we get up every day and we keep going. Hold your children close. I don't remember who it was, but somebody said, you know, guess God's plan and God's purpose, and it is hard as a parent to look at it that way, but I just look around and all the unity and togetherness, and I don't do much of the social media stuff, but on the social media, it's almost 100% love and unity and care and togetherness, and it's just amazing how a small little skinny, you see the pictures with his shirt off, skin and bones, you know, that's all he was. A little fella just brought the world together. If you learn anything from this event, never take a moment with those precious children for granted. Know your parents, know your siblings. That's my message to you today. Love your family and your friends, and never take a moment for granted, and thank you, everyone.
So now Letecia is trying to claim in this September 3rd interview with Crime Online that Al had something to do with Gannon's disappearance. So she says that Al should be in jail for manslaughter. She could say murder, but she's not trying to go that low. She's going to say manslaughter. She said Al owed Edgar money, which led to Gannon's disappearance. Said she has been covering for others, hoping the full truth that's not sugar-coated will come out. She said him, talking about Al, and Edgar, this guy Edgar, it was Eduardo, was getting into it because he owed Edgar some money. She said, we had the money that should have been paid for the cruise, talking about a cruise that they had taken on their honeymoon. She claims Al told her that she didn't have a child, she has a child, so I guess she's talking about young child, to lose, and that he had many law enforcement and military officials that could assist if she didn't snitch. So I guess she's saying she's trying to say that he's saying, if you'll take the rap, I'll get you out of it. She said she went along with Al because he said he would pull some strings to help her out. She claims that she won't reveal the true identity of Edgar because he has dangerous affiliations. So she's saying that Edgar is a pseudonym for somebody else's name. Says her stories kept changing because she lost track of what Al wanted her to say. Like, this is as low as you could go, Letecia. Trying to pull Al in on your murderous plot to kill Gannon. Like, there's no limit for you, is there? None at all. You're disgusting in my book. Disgusting. So on January 19th, 2021, Letecia was found competent for the second time to stand trial. So Letecia will stand trial for her charges against Gannon. She will finally pay for what she has done to Gannon, and I will be there to cover the trial as it goes along for you guys. Now, the last thing I have to tell you in this video is about a letter that she has kept in touch with Kit, the YouTuber who's been covering the story for a while, and she sent Kit a letter. So let's go over one last letter from Crazy Letecia. Now this is, the handwriting is crazy. Also credit to Kit, her YouTube description, and link is down below. So this is wrote like in crazy handwriting, so I'm going to try my best to read this to you guys, okay? So, good morning, cuz. I wanted to write you to let you know I got to talk to Edgar on the phone today. LOL question mark. Well, I talked to his cousin, and we use code words. Alex Rodriguez is his code name. Between me and his cousin, cuz. She keeps calling her cuz. I like, are you taking on this prison like persona now? Cuz. Come on. I got no other letter written by him yesterday from the streets, and passed through the fishing line, cause he is buying, I'm sorry, I can't read that, guys. He is laying low charges, but will testify and something after, to avoid court charges, whatever works for, I don't know. It's really hard to read. I'm actually going to put it up for you guys to see if you can read it any better than I am. The family's attorney suggests advice, once you are in the game, remember stitches are bitches and are buried deeper than ditches, do I know what not to say on the family business, something is on hold due to some human virus, I mean, the vegetarians, that's what it looks like, are eating veggies, so the humans I have no clue, should be eating humans, wow. Come see me, I don't bite, just something, guys, I'm not sure. From H2 something, okay, thanks, my health is level 7, wow. She also says, she black, question mark, hashtag Black Lives Matter from Jasper. Trust me, one of you will know soon what's next. Jay, Win, Be Extra, Jessica, or Janesta. What? I don't know. Seriously, people. Hey, Janelle, do you think you can turn me into a vampire? I don't know, guys. This is crazy. And so that is the letter to Kit Kat that was just wrote to her from Letecia, who is apparently gone batshit crazy in jail. So that's all I have for you guys for this video. The next video, we're going to start going on the behind the scenes what Letecia was doing, what cops believe that she was doing. We're going to go over the affidavit that was leaked and then later released. So I'll be right back with final thoughts. Hey guys, and welcome back to Final Thoughts. So I wanted to give you guys my thoughts, my opinion on what happened to Gannon. And I believe this for a few reasons. You know, I've watched a couple videos, like I absolutely love Stephanie Harlow, but they're listed below because I always watch their videos. And because they give so much information, they're so detailed in their description of cases. So if you want to know a case in full, you go watch them because they give it to you, and they're just amazing with their experience and the way that they tell things. So they're, you know, some of my favorite, just some of my favorite channels. But so I believe, and this is just my opinion, what I believe, this is not fact in any absolute way, okay? So I believe on the 26th when Gannon supposedly dropped the candle or what have you, I believe that Letecia got mad and went off, and I believe that she hurt Gannon. I believe that Gannon lay in his bed. I believe that she took the phone from Gannon, not allowing him to call his dad or mom and let them know what had happened. I believe he laid in his bed seriously hurt and injured and bleeding until the next day when she may have told him, you know, I'm going to take you to the doctor or what have you. I'm going to take you to mom, whatever she told him to get him out of the house. We can see in the video that when he came out of the house, like, something was wrong with him. So I believe when she left that day, you know, there was 2 hours after they left Petco the first time where she was going up and looking out into the parking lot and kept going shopping. I think during that time she was trying to wait on him to pass from his injuries that she'd already caused. But, you know, Gannon's a fighter. I mean, that's proven. But we're human, so we can only fight so much. I believe she left and turned off Gannon's phone so that she couldn't be tracked. And I believe that's when she finished what she done to Gannon. You know, of course, we know she went and disposed of the body. She went back and checked on it. And then I believe on her way to Myrtle Beach, she just kind of cut to Florida and disposed of him there. And went to South Carolina to her family's, where she was arrested. So that's my opinion on the case. I've got a lot going on in the house right now. I've got my youngin' down here, like, trying to mess with everything. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will film the next video tomorrow night and try to have it up for you guys on Friday, Saturday. I don't even know what today is. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday, so I'll have it up for you guys. Well, you're seeing this on Thursday, but I'll have the next video up for you guys on Friday. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. Check out all the links down below. Check out Gannon's Law. Alright guys, I'll see you next video. Remember, love yourself, love others, and as always, remember, I love you. Bye guys. Victorious one.